What's up, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Wizards Latest. I'm your host and DC sports fan, Ben Robertson, and on this page, we break down all the biggest headlines surrounding the Washington Wizards. So, as always, make sure you've hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. Drop your comments with any thoughts you might have on the video or anything you want to hear me talk about in the future. Really do try to use those suggestions and thoughts and incorporate them into future episodes. Again, appreciate all of the support here on the page. Today, I want to talk about Team France. You may notice bobblehead Alex Sarr behind me is holding his French flag, and that is because that national team began EuroBasket play with a victory. Want to talk about Bilal Coulibaly and Alex Sarr's performances in that game. Then take a look ahead at what they have coming up here this weekend, including a matchup against a former Wizard. Again, guys, thanks for tuning into the page every single Monday through Friday. Remember, videos dropping here every single weekday. Again, want to talk about Team France getting off to a dominant start to EuroBasket 2025, a 92-64 victory over Belgium. They picked up in their first game of group play, really cruised from quarter one through quarter four. Didn't shoot super well from three-point land, only shot 8 for 28 from distance, but made better than 60% of their 2-point attempts. Only missed 3 free throws on the day and just rolled in that opening matchup. Of course, France, one of the favorites in this tournament, entering EuroBasket 2025. The silver medalists from the last time the event was held back in 2022. They did win it back in 2013. Of course, remember, coming off that silver medal in the Paris Olympics, that squad wants to put some gold around their neck. Highly motivated coming into this year's EuroBasket 2025. Looks great in prep work, and now have just carried that over into game one. One of the betting favorites as well to win the whole thing. Right now, the third best odds when I checked DraftKings. France right now sitting at plus 650. Germany is plus 450. And then Team Serbia, who of course features, or doesn't maybe feature, but includes Tristan Vukcevic, one of course, the young Wizards, currently has the best odds. Right now, Serbia is the favorites, according to DraftKings, to win the EuroBasket tournament. I would love to see a France versus Serbia matchup, maybe when we get to the knockout rounds. For obvious reasons, think that could be really entertaining. And for us DC, us Wizards fans, that obviously is going to have some serious intrigue. But I kind of want to break down the performances of the two young Wizards on this French national team. First off, let's look at Bilal Coulibaly. His outing in EuroBasket game one led the team, in fact, with 12 points and 7 rebounds. Actually scored the first bucket, the first French bucket of the game, on a nice drive to the rim. Made 5 of his 7 2-point attempts, but like the team, struggled from distance. 0 of 4 from beyond the arc. Maybe the one nitpick of Bilal's outing there. Of course, we want him to develop that consistent outside shot, kind of get that into a more consistent place going into next year. But overall, loved his performance once again, back in the starting lineup. A couple blocks actually on the same possession in that game, so showed really all of his tools. Remember when Bilal really didn't play much back in the Paris Olympics and everyone was kind of down on him, saying, hey, like, why can't he crack the French lineup? Well, I mean, I think we can put all of that to rest, of course. Now, fast forward here to this EuroBasket 2025 tournament, and he is really one of the featured players on this French national team, getting awesome experience here, in the NBA offseason. Again, he's really become a regular starter throughout the prep work and now at least into game one of the tournament. I know it's maybe a step below where NBA level competition is, but the intensity is, at least in terms of skill, the intensity, though, I would say matches it. You got to remember when players, put on those national jerseys, something just kind of clicks. Everything is a little bit different when you're playing for your country. And, again, maybe this is a step below where NBA competition is, but I have to think this is probably the highest level of off-season competition that these guys could get. Perfect spot to really continue your development over the summer. And again, loved what we've seen from Coulibaly so far. Let's talk Alex Sarr a little bit because he's been solid as well, coming off the bench. 7 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 really nice assist off the bench in that EuroBasket opener for Sarr. It was a sweet feed off a little pick and roll action. He caught it in the lane, rifled a pass over to Zachary Richeche for a slam. It was a really nice pass there, the lone assist on Sarr's stat line. Remember, a year younger than Coulibaly, and I just like that he's contributing and is a factor here with this French national team. 3 of 5 on his field goal attempts in this opening game. 0 of 2 from three-point land and made all 3 of his 2-point attempts, which I like to see because I know it was only 3 field goals, but they were strong, assertive finishes at the rim. Definitely looks like he's improved his strength a little bit, added some muscle. Of course, we talk about all the time that's going to be a big key for him moving forward. And I just like that he's finding ways to fit in and help with this national team, even if he's maybe not the focal point all the time offensively, or really most of the time offensively. And I think Sarr's got to do more of what he's doing here for at the national level in the NBA level. Lean into the things you're good at. You're really athletic. He's really good on the offensive glass. He can grab rebounds, put down, tough putbacks. He runs the rim so well. He's shown he's pretty good diving to the hoop on the pick and roll. Obviously, really good defensively and at blocking shots. Showed that in his rookie year. Showed that in summer league. I realize a lot of the things I'm saying might sound like I'm telling him to go do some of the dirty work, or I want him to be kind of one of those type of players. And to some degree, yes, I am. And I don't think that's a limiting thing either, though. Some of that stuff is what makes a lot of NBA big men elite players and really, really good. And I just don't think Sarr all the time has to think he needs to go get his and create offensively. We're going to have other players, once the season rolls around, that can put the ball in the basket. Think about Trey Johnson, Cam Whitmore, CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton. Those guys can score at a serious level. Sarr doesn't always have to be, a dominant scorer, or maybe that's not even going to be where he's best, long term in the NBA. I think if he can find ways to create offense and be, again, a contributing factor like he's been for France, while not always dominating, being on ball all the time, I think that's going to be huge for him. So like what we've seen so far from Alex Sarr in prep work and now in game 1 of the EuroBasket tournament. Last thing I want to talk about today is what's next for this French national team here in EuroBasket. A couple interesting matchups coming up over the weekend. If you're watching this video over the weekend, drop your thoughts down below. If you happen to catch the game, on any thoughts you may have on those performances. We'll also, of course, chat about those games next week. But first off, the Slovenian matchup coming up on Saturday for this French team. Of course, that Slovenian national team led by Luka Doncic, but that team not quite where they were a few years ago, I should say, on the international level. Only went 1-5 in preparation for the EuroBasket tournament. Blown out by Serbia in that prep work. Lost their opening game of the EuroBasket tournament, despite a 34-point performance from Luka Doncic. So expecting, honestly, more domination for France in that game. Really interested in the next matchup they have after that against Israel. Of course, that Israel team features former Wizard Deni Avdija. Avdija coming off his best NBA season really so far, 17.7 rebounds a game after that trade to Portland. Nice start for him in EuroBasket as well. Had 20 points, 9 rebounds in the opening matchup for Israel in a win. Actually, raising Israeli League MVP Roman Sorkin led the way for Israel in that game with 31 points. But it kind of had me thinking, as I look at this matchup here, just in a couple days on the horizon, I've seen a lot of maybe negativity surrounding the Deni Avdija trade to Portland. Of course, it sort of the big return there was being able to draft Bub Carrington and his rights. And I've just seen maybe a lot of people saying we shouldn't have traded Deni away. It was a loss for the trade. I know Portland fans certainly feel that way if you kind of look at their content. But I really think that trade hinges on Bub Carrington's future, and I think it's a little bit too early to maybe dismiss it as a bad trade or even dismiss Bub. Although I understand Denny is a good player and just had a really good year, a really strong close to the season as well. I think it's too early to say that was a bad trade or a bad deal. Again, you got to realize while Denny Avdia is a good player, I don't think he's ever going to be a star or a guy that's going to take you over the top. And if Bub Carrington turns into the point guard of the future here in DC, that's easily a win for Will Dawkins and co. We'll see how it shakes out. I'll keep you posted on everything Wizards related right here on the page. So make sure you've hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. Drop your comments with any thoughts you might have on this video or anything you want to hear me talk about in future videos. Appreciate all the support once again, and thanks for watching another episode of Wizards Latest.